I stared at my phone, the screen glowing in the darkened living room. Sophia's message blinked back at me. Simple, casual, but it hit like a thunderclap. I'll be staying at Ryan's tonight. Don't wait up. I sat frozen, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. My mind raced through every possible scenario, each one more suffocating than the last. Ryan, her coworker, her friend. I had met him once years ago at that office holiday party in downtown Seattle. Nothing special, just polite nods and small talk. And now his apartment was the place she chose to spend the night. And she thought a simple text was enough. No discussion, no warning, just information. The room felt smaller, the shadows pressing in. I could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator, and the ticking clock on the wall marking every second I didn't want to count. I typed a reply almost unconsciously, thumb hovering, unsure if I even wanted to send it. Okay. That was all. 2 letters, neutral on the surface, but the weight behind them was unbearable. A pressure built in my chest. Sophia's presence had always been a storm in my life. Lively, unpredictable, passionate. But lately the spark had dimmed. Our conversations had slowed to polite exchanges. Our laughter had grown muted. And now this text wasn't just an update. It was a declaration. She didn't need me tonight. Maybe not ever again. I remembered the earlier weeks, the moments that now felt distant and fragile. When we first met in that little coffee shop on Capitol Hill, Sophia had been magnetic, unstoppable. Her laughter filled every corner of every room we entered. I had been drawn to her energy, her fierce independence, the way she could make the most mundane things feel electric. I had loved her for it. Unreservedly, completely. But love, I was learning, didn't shield you from the silent fractures growing between 2 people. I tossed the phone onto the couch and let it slide to the floor. My hands ran through my hair as I sank into the armchair, staring at the dim light overhead. I could hear my own breathing, sharp and uneven, punctuated by the dull thud of my heart against my ribs. Part of me wanted to call her, demand answers, plead for clarity. Another part whispered that a line had already been crossed, one that couldn't be uncrossed with words. I thought about Ryan. I didn't even know what he truly represented to her, but my mind supplied the worst images. Their laughter echoing in his apartment in Bellevue, her hand brushing against his, the familiar warmth I once took for granted now given to someone else. And yet, beyond the jealousy, there was a deeper hurt, the knowledge that she hadn't considered me important enough to explain herself in person or even over a call. Just a text. I remembered our last dinner together a week ago at that Italian place on Pike Street. It had been tense, quiet, filled with forced smiles and polite nods. I had tried to talk, tried to bridge the growing gap, but she had brushed me off, eyes fixed on her phone, lips pressed tight. That night I had wondered if this was what the end looked like. Staring at her message now, I realized it wasn't just suspicion anymore. The city outside my window was quiet. Streetlights cast long shadows across the walls. Somewhere down the block a car alarm went off, shrill and sudden, mirroring the panic rising inside me. I couldn't stay here, trapped in my own spiraling thoughts. I grabbed my coat, my keys, my phone, anything to make the room feel less like a cage. I drove aimlessly through familiar streets in Portland now, each one holding fragments of our history. The cafe in the Pearl District where we had shared lazy Sunday mornings, the park where she had thrown her head back and laughed like nothing else mattered, the old movie theater in Northwest where we watched our first film together, sharing popcorn and whispered jokes. Each memory stabbed at me, vivid, sharp, unrelenting. I pulled over near the Hawthorne Bridge, overlooking the Willamette River. The water below reflected the city lights in fractured, glittering patterns. I rested my forehead against the steering wheel and let out a long, shaky breath. This wasn't just about Sophia staying at Ryan's. It was about everything she had become. The distance, the secrecy, the unspoken shift in our bond, and the realization that, maybe for the first time in our relationship, she had outgrown me. I didn't know what to do next. Confront her, walk away, or wait and see. The uncertainty gnawed at me. But in that gnawing I felt a strange clarity forming. A cold, hard understanding that some things couldn't be fixed with explanations or arguments. Some things ended quietly, invisibly, with a text, a shrug, a choice already made. As I sat there with the river's reflection rippling in the night, I understood that tonight wasn't really about Sophia or Ryan. It was about me finally seeing the cracks for what they were and deciding whether I wanted to fall into them or step back before I did. I didn't sleep that night. The city lights bled through the blinds, painting stripes across the room. I sat in silence, the memory of Sophia's text burning in my mind. "I'll be staying at Ryan's tonight. Don't wait up." The words replayed endlessly. A loop of betrayal and disbelief. Morning came reluctantly, gray and cold. I drove back toward her apartment in southeast Portland, a pit of dread growing in my stomach. My hands gripped the wheel tighter than necessary, knuckles white. Part of me wanted answers. A deeper, quieter part wanted to see the truth unfiltered. When I pulled up outside, the street was eerily empty. No usual chatter, no dogs barking, not even the mailman. It felt like the city was holding its breath. I didn't knock. I didn't ring the bell. I just watched. Then I saw him, Ryan, at the window, moving casually, unaware or indifferent to the storm I carried inside. Rage surged through me, sharp and hot. And then shock. Sophia appeared behind him, looking tired but oddly calm. They laughed softly, the kind of laugh that didn't include me, didn't need me, didn't even think of me. In that moment, the last thread of denial snapped. I left the car running, walked up to the building, and rang the bell. No answer. I waited, heart pounding in my ears. I rang again. Still silence. I called, texted, even sent a voice message. Nothing. Then, as if the universe had timed it cruelly, the door opened. She stepped out holding a small overnight bag and froze when she saw me. "Ethan," she started, her voice soft, hesitant, almost apologetic. But the words didn't matter anymore. Not after the text, not after the night, not after all the moments I had tried to bridge the gap and been met with indifference. "I got your message," I said simply, my voice low and calm but carrying the weight of everything unsaid. "I saw everything." Her eyes widened, a mix of fear and guilt. I watched the realization hit her. I was no longer the man who would wait silently, hoping she'd come back around. Something inside me had shifted the night before by the river, with the quiet understanding that some love dies invisibly, and you have to walk away before it kills you too. "Ethan, I didn't," she began. "No," I cut her off. "Save it. I've been listening to excuses for too long." My voice wasn't angry, it was cold, measured, detached. "You chose him. You didn't need to tell me in person because I already knew. The distance, the silence, the way you looked at me. It all told the truth." Her lips trembled. "Ethan, please." I held up a hand. "This is over. Not because of him. Not because of tonight. You made it over slowly, quietly, over time. You left me behind, and I can't keep chasing someone who doesn't want to be found." She stepped back, shaking, clutching her bag like it could shield her from the consequences. For the first time I saw real fear in her eyes, the fear of understanding that I had stopped being the man who would wait, forgive silently, hope endlessly. I walked past her. The air felt lighter. The streets no longer felt confining. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew it wasn't back into the world she had chosen. Days passed. Sophia never contacted me. Ryan's presence faded from my mind, replaced by a clarity I hadn't felt in years. I sorted through the remnants of our shared life. Photos, mementos, little things that once meant everything. I packed them away, each one a reminder that what we had was real, but it had ended for reasons neither of us could fully control. Then, 3 days later, a knock at my door. I opened it cautiously. A woman I didn't recognize stood there, expression unreadable, holding a small envelope. No words, just a quiet handoff. I took it, hand steady. Inside was a note in Sophia's handwriting. "I made a mistake. I thought I knew what I wanted. I was wrong." I folded it slowly, feeling the past and present collide. The shock hit me, not with anger or hurt, but with the calm clarity that the story had shifted, that the power dynamic had changed forever. She had acted without understanding the consequences. I had acted with full awareness of mine. I didn't reply. I didn't call. I didn't chase. The door closed quietly. The envelope rested on the table, a relic of what could have been. In that silence I realized something profound. Some endings aren't cruel. They are necessary. They are the sharp, bitter truth that sets you free. The lesson life sometimes delivers in a single unreadable message. As I looked out the window at the city alive with its usual chaos, I felt a quiet thrill. Not victory, not revenge, just survival. I have faced betrayal, shock, and uncertainty and come out whole. Whole and aware that the next time someone sends a message like that, I won't just read it. I'll understand it, accept it, and step forward without hesitation. Because some stories don't end with fireworks or screams. They end with a quiet, undeniable clarity that changes everything.